All right. What's happening? What's happening? I wanted to, I had this video pop up for me, right? And it is a guy by the name of the Wave Report. Now, I've known about this dude for a long time, right? He's been in the community for a long time, before I even started doing this channel, right? And this was back, so this was all the way back, right? When, you know, I started to sort of notice that we weren't getting, you know, the full burger, full sandwich, right? That he put out a video and it would be like, oh, you know, this is happening and that's happening. So I click on it, because you do. And then there's absolutely nothing, right? Now, I'm of the opinion that if you find, so you got the MK1 leaks Reddit, there's been some leaks that were happening in the early days on 4chan. So if you find stuff that is showcased, you know, regarding MK1, you want to talk about it, or them being possible leaks, do it and show where you got it, right? Show it in the picture. If you go back and watch all my old videos, you can see that I've showcased either stuff from the MK1 Reddit, MK1 leaks Reddit, or what do you call it, the 4chan one, or whatever else, right? Maybe even stuff on Twitter. I don't know if there was any major leaks on Twitter at the time. So you need to show that, and that's something that the Wave Report didn't do. Nothing against the guy personally, he seems okay, but he put out this video basically stating that he lied, right? Like, he'd say, oh, my source, and he never actually had that. That's not the main issue I actually have with that. I do appreciate when people are actually upfront and honest, because at the end of the day, you know, we are just YouTubers, yeah? We're not professors or anything like that. We are just dudes or dudettes making videos to talk about our favorite subjects, right? We don't have to go get a fucking degree in how to speak in order to put out videos on the internet, right? Just as long as, you know, if you're talking about something that you've seen, show it. Oh, it says here that we're getting this roster. Show it. Show where you found it, right? Because then what happens is that you're not accountable for the wrong information. The people posting it are, and you're simply sharing it to see whether or not any of it holds any weight. Maybe other people in the community might go, hey, yeah, actually, you know what? That might actually be true. It may not be true. But that's all part of creating conversation, right? You need to have conversation. I like the idea that when you put something out there, you actually create a conversation with your audience, rather than you just sort of barking shit at them, you know, and that's it. Now, I get pretty heated. I'm not going to lie. I'm a pretty passionate fellow. That's why my hair fell out. I just get so worked up. Goes, and the hair is gone. That's a joke, by the way, for those that are out there that take everything fucking literally. But I appreciate that this dude came out and said this. Now, the reason why I wanted to talk about it was not so much that, right? He sounds like a cool dude. He obviously, like a lot of people, fake it till you make it, right? And that's the problem. We see a lot of people in the community fake stuff to try and get ahead, to try and build up an audience by setting out their trawler net and hoping they pick up actual fans and whatnot along the way, right? But eventually that crashes and burns, right? Eventually the statistics show up. Now, you don't have to like my stuff. You don't have to agree with my stuff. You don't have to agree with any take I've ever said. I've always said that. I actually prefer that people are honest about that. But there are a few things that do bug me, naturally. And that is because when people decide to, you know, spread lies and misinformation, right? That's a problem. So just like this guy, who actually was man enough to admit that he was doing it. The rest of them don't. The rest of them don't because they realize that the temple that they have created on a foundation of sand, just but one kick at the base and it's all going to come crumbling down, right? Now, the thing that bothered me the most in this video was a couple of things actually. Firstly, he talks about that he's had some people reach out, some big name people reach out to him privately. Now, I can't know whether or not that's true or not because he doesn't even show it. We just have to take his word for it. But because of the boy who cried wolf, right? The problem with that is that now we literally have to take everything he says with a grain of salt. We cannot just go, oh, okay, sure. Now, I believe everything else is sincere because you don't actually put out a video like this unless you're actually sincere. Unless you actually go, no, this is wrong. And God bless him for that. None of us are perfect at all. Like, that's just the biblical truth. So I actually appreciate this dude for doing this, right? And this is one of the guys I probably mentioned in the early days, you know, of people that looked like they were shilling or lying, you know, that sort of stuff, right? So I appreciate that he's doing this. I do. Okay. So I'm not 100% sure though if these DMs are real. They probably are. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. But the thing is though that he talks about things like, oh, working, you know, he says apparently these people would love to do content with him, right? But it says here with you, but you have too much heat, you're nuclear, I cannot work with you, right? This is why the NRS gaming community is a cult. Before, and I said this in a previous video yesterday about with MK, right? Why can't MK just be normal? Meaning, why can't Mortal Kombat just be Mortal Kombat again? Whatever this bastardization crap that we have now is not Mortal Kombat. It's a skin suit trying to pretend it's such. You know, like cosplay, right? Now, I take issue with stuff like this, right? In the sense that I've seen similar things being said, not to me, but in the same way that, well, you're just, you know, you're just toxic. You're this, you're that, right? Turns out, a lot of the time I end up being correct. Maybe it's because I'm older and I've seen a lot more, perhaps, I don't know. Maybe it's because I have been sitting and watching for a very, very long time. A lot of these channels and the stuff that they put out, the comments they make and the backlash they get. And then I simply add my voice to it. Everyone's mad because fate or somebody else notices. They're not mad that they actually got conned, right? It's like the jibby jab, right? All the people that were absolutely dead to rights, that you had to have the jibby jab for the super cold, right? They will never admit that they were wrong. They will never admit that they got conned. Because that is losing face. And they would much rather hang on to that lie than admit that they were actually conned. Now you gotta remember, to be conned, it takes a con artist. So, when you've got something as significant as what happened in the world a few years ago, right? There's a lot of fear, a lot of panic that was generated. A lot of people, well, we got to see a lot of people for who they really were, right? And it is what it is, okay? And some people have admitted that, yep, they just fell lock, stock in line with the media, the narrative. And that's what we have with NRS, the NRS community and the narrative. This statement here, I cannot work with you because you're too nuclear. Now, listen, if he was reporting stuff honestly, it wouldn't matter, right? Because what we've all discovered is that when you step out of the line, you get roasted for it, right? I said this the other day, I had a comment in one of my videos. Oh, from a big fan, right? Big fan. He's got a real bee up his ass about me. And he said was, if you had just bothered to sit on stream and play the game and learn with your audience, you would have been accepted. Well, that sounds like a cult, bro. That sounds like I have to modify myself for the greater good. Sounds like a cult, bro. Sounds like we're not allowed to be ourselves. We're not allowed to call stuff out. We're not allowed to question things, which I always encourage everyone to do. Because questioning things gets answers. Sometimes you really need to know. Now, at the end of the day, this is just gaming. It's not changing the world or anything like that. But, of course, as we've seen with every other form of media out there, then the insidious nature of all this sort of woke ideology that has infected gaming and infected movies and infected TV shows for so long, right? There is a singular purpose to this, and that is to destroy things that you love, which is why a lot of us don't really feel connected with MK1, because it is just, it's just not Mortal Kombat. It looks like it, kind of sounds like it, but it's not, right? We all know deep down that it's not. That's why I'm very eager to get Homelander and Takeda out of the way, or at least hopefully soon, maybe next month, which really kicks off a lot of the sort of big gaming announcements, that we might actually finally start to get some information about the future of MK1. Because we need to know. We need to know what's going on, right? Whether we can get excited for hopeful change and stuff like that, right? And the reason why these cults are so successful, the reason why these movements are so successful, is because they take a singular issue that people have made about their entire identity. For example, a lot of gay people out there make it their entire identity. They make their tea as a gay man. They wake up as a gay man. They go to work as a gay man. Right? All of these things, like, there is an entire person there. Not just who they sleep with. But the bad guys, if we can call them that, wokies and whatnot, they hyper-focus on that particular part of a person, and they make it all about, well, if they don't affirm, if they don't agree with what you're saying, then you are a heretic. You are an absolute disgrace, and you should be ousted from the community, right? So while with the Wave Report, you know, it's great that he's admitting fault, but at the end of the day, you know, if they're saying, well, they can't work with you because you're too nuclear, is it because he was calling stuff out, right? I encourage everyone to speak up and call stuff out, okay? And usually you're right. Usually when you're over the target, that's when things get really hairy, right? Has anyone else in the Mortal Kombat community been targeted in the way that I have? The correct answer is no. Why is that? Well, that's because I don't have anything to protect myself with. I'm not gay, or I'm not of another ethnicity. I'm not part of sort of some special protected class. And that's the reason why they came after me. Now, they'll argue back and say, well, you attack people first. But define attack. Are you meaning calling out people that are spreading misinformation, like the Wave Report? Or like other people that look like they were actually shilling, or not covering information correctly, or not even covering it at all? Is that what you deem an attack? Or is that trying to get people to be held accountable to make sure that they are being honest and truthful about what they say and do? That is not an attack. And then lo and behold, when people were all claiming this about me, all the grifters and the charlatans and the snakes out there started doing the same thing. They started to calling out the people that I had done months ago. Not because they care, because it was profitable, right? So all I care about at the end of the day is whether or not somebody that I'm following is at least being truthful. Now, I'm not asking for them to be perfect. I'm asking for them that if they say something like, oh, NoobSideBot is absolutely going to be in the expansion. How do you know, bro? Oh, my sauce. What? Tomato, barbecue, fucking chili? What? That's what I'm asking for. I'm not asking for their backstory. I'm not asking or digging into their past. I don't care about that, right? Because they haven't done anything to me personally. I don't care about that, right? What I care about is that when you subscribe to someone, you're at least getting, some honest information about, what's actually being talked about in the video, right? Now, there was something else that he said in here too. I just sort of want to go through quickly. He hasn't made any in like I think about a couple of weeks now. I don't think. Maybe he's on a holiday. Right. I mean, his thumbnails are pretty damn good actually. I like his thumbnails a lot actually. Pretty good, right? I am simple, so it doesn't really matter, right? So obviously like coming out and saying stuff, like somebody in the comments, we'll read the comments in a sec, somebody in the comments was like, oh, well, you got some stuff right, and it's like, yeah, but like a broken clock is right twice a day, right? So it's sort of like, again, like he could have done all these videos and just showcased the information if he knew about it, just where he got it from. That's not a bad thing. That's perfectly okay, right? You're not leaking a trailer, like the GTA 6 trailer. You're not doing something like that, It's just the only thing, as far as I'm concerned, that he's done wrong is just the lying part, right? And that's great. Good on him. Why not? But at the end of the day, like, because he mentioned something about being a lone wolf or something, right? Where was it? I think where am I up to there? 11, all right. So there was something about, or maybe it was up here. Let me check. Yeah, so his problem was just the fake videos, right? That's all it was. But he absolutely, like what we have seen with other people in the community, got, what do you call it? Just got addicted. Right? He got addicted to the views, to the likes, right? And eventually that crashes and burns. Okay. The fact that he acknowledges all of this sort of stuff is really, it's pretty impressive actually. There are some people that could take notes from this dude, to be perfectly honest, right? And don't worry, I already hear the haters in my head. Yeah, fucking lions. You fucking don't admit when you're wrong. I do actually. I've admit many times I've been wrong about stuff, right? But the problem is though, is that like they don't really have much to get me on. So then they have to go outside of that. Boy oh boy. Just wait until the gay people find my religion channel in the latest video that I did. Right, there's a freebie for you. Right? It's so funny actually how like, people just get so upset with the Bible, and they themselves are Christians. I don't know. Anyway, that's a conundrum I'll never understand. There's something in here. Let me just play it. It might come up. I'll just keep an eye on the thing. He says something about being a lone wolf, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. To be perfectly honest, when you look at most of the people in the community, it's probably the best thing to do. Right? It's probably the best thing to do to be a lone wolf. Right? Because fuck being associated with I don't actually care for the standard sort of people that present the news, for MK News and stuff like that. They're fucking harmless compared to the shit I've had to deal with. Like, those guys are fucking psychopaths, right? The shills, at least some of them, that still fall under that banner or not, are harmless, right? Harmless. But I don't have a problem with people going lone wolf. That doesn't bother me. Because usually what that means is that you're getting them. You're getting their authentic self, right? At least that's the way I interpret it, right? They're just being themselves. They're not trying to placate to anyone. And this kind of sounds like he's trying to placate to a fan base, a cult, that basically says, well, you need to just, you need to just stay in your lane. Oh boy, I've heard that a few times with me. Right? So the only thing that this dude did that was radioactive is just lying. Right? About the source stuff. And he's like talking about, oh, you versus the world. Like it's not about versus the world. Right? It's not about versus the world. It's about standing up against bullshit. Right? And none of these fuckers in the community, none of them gave a shit about, exposing people that were lying or spreading misinformation or anything like that. And then when I started doing it, oh, he's toxic. No, that's fine. You can say whatever you want. That doesn't bother me, right? But like I said, once it started to become, how would I describe it? Profitable, huge, massively monetarily incentivized, right? That's when they started to cover it. Yeah? Because they didn't care about it till then. I want you to name a singular person in the MK community that has been outed, or not outed, has been claiming to be outed as a Klansman. I'll wait. Or a gay hater. I'll wait. This is how you know you're over the target. People don't go to these lengths unless there is some major issue. Now, there's nothing personal against these people. I don't know these people in real life. But they took it personally when I decided to step into realms that they decided for themselves that we should not talk about. As if they made the fucking game. As if they had any input whatsoever. They probably don't even own shares, for God's sakes, into any of this stuff, but they act so defensive of it. And this is the sort of stuff I've seen for a very long time. People get very, very, very defensive over shit that they have never, ever invested in outside of purchasing it. Which you could argue is an investment in itself, but still, you didn't make the game, you didn't make the characters, you didn't program it, you didn't have to get the funding together to do all of this sort of shit. You just fucking handed your money over a desk at the game shop and walked home, or drove home, right? And it's so weird, the vitriol that this community has. So I don't see it in any other community, right? And if you have to go outside of the conversation on just the game, or if you have to get personal, what does that say about you, right? It says that you can't win on the argument itself. So they have to try and smear you in other ways, right? And if it's not me, it'll be somebody else. Because when you look at the NRS community, what do you see? You see a bunch of people behaving themselves, right? They all behave themselves, right? They don't step out of line. They all say the right thing, they'll do the right thing, And when you start to step out of line, even someone as big as Dynasty, look what happened, right? I firmly believe that was a lesson being taught about Dynasty. Using him as an example of no matter how big you get. And who came to his defense? No one. Right? No one did. He didn't leak a trailer. He didn't leak screenshots of inside the development studio computers. He was reporting about the same shit that I was doing. Who cares? Right? People do it all the fucking time. And as other people have now come out since then, have confirmed that some of these people crying about people sharing leaks were the ones leaking themselves back in the day of Injustice, right? And that was in a, I think that was it, yeah, that was in a public call with James Fink on X many weeks ago, right? So, you know, there seems to be a lot of skeletons in the closet, if you will. A lot of stuff that people don't want to have found out. Why is that? So, I do appreciate, right? I do appreciate what he's doing here. I really do. Because everyone has a path to redemption. Everyone. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. Let me check, actually, because he's talking about, like, you know, if you lose subscribers or whatever. I'm actually curious to see now if he actually took a hit. Let's have a look. Let's have it. What's he called? A wave. Yeah, it should come up for that, wouldn't it? Wave report. Here we go. It's been around since 2016. So he made this video a month ago. Right. I'm just having a looky here. Well, as far as I'm concerned, Dynasty didn't do anything wrong. I think he was just talking about leaks, the same sort of shit that I'd read. You know, where you see stuff on the MK1 leaks Reddit, or, you know, 4chan or whatever. Like, that's not, like, that's, again, that's not like leaking a GTA 6 trailer, right? You know what I mean? So, I don't know, like, he's maybe lost a couple of hundred subscribers, maybe? Give or take. So yeah, you know, not a big bunch, right? Like, I'm looking on Social Blade, right? So, but yeah, he in January, obviously he deleted, like, you know, 4 million, what was it? Over 4 million videos, views worth of videos, right? So, and that's because he was starting fresh, right? That's because he was starting fresh, right? And that's how you can always tell. That's how you can always tell when people are, like, sort of like doing a channel refresh or covering up so other people won't find stuff. People do it all the time, you know. So, so yeah, he's talking about apparently websites were picking him up and stuff like that, blah, 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 right? But again, you gotta give him credit. You know, he admitted it, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? It seems so so interesting how the so-called Christians out there aren't acting very Christian-like. I mean, I'll just turn it around, bro. Right? If we're going to talk about forgiveness, if we're going to talk about, you know, all that sort of jazz, it's interesting how people, you know, don't seem to act the way that they expect others, you know, they expect to be treated differently than everyone else, right? So, in the last few months, we have had What have I been accused of now? Well, I'm white, so I'm already fucked, right? I haven't been accused of being bald yet. Maybe we can get some accusations in the chat of me being bald yet. Of being a white supreme pizza, a Klansman, a gay hater, a Muslim hater. I think that's it, right? These are all things unrelated to the video game. Ever notice that? So, I am a Christian. I believe in God. I believe in the Bible, right? I believe the Bible is the Word of God. It is the truth. That is my belief. If anyone else wants to believe in it, you can. If you don't, you don't. That's what free will is all about. That's what a Christian understands. A Christian understands free will. That as much as it might hurt us to see other people fall apart and make choices that we don't agree with, we can't do anything about it. Except for just be with them, like be there for them if they want us to be, pray for them, and that's it, right? Now, you cannot be a Christian and sit there and say to another Christian, you're a hater, you hate gays. When not only is there no proof, but it's also, well, hang on, the book that you believe in also is exactly the same thing that I also believe in, right? And the reason why they say that is because they are treating religion like a Sizzler salad bar. They're picking and choosing the stuff that matters and discarding the stuff that they don't want to, they don't want to face. Now, I don't care what people believe in, but it's highly hypocritical to sit there as Christians to call other Christians hateful when they themselves are acting in an extremely judgmental and condemning way, if you will, right? So, like I said, I actually have, you see my video a few days ago, advertising on my channels. I've got a Christian channel up there now if you guys want to go check it out. And that is because I'm just sharing my belief system. I'm very happy and comforted in my belief system. So, we don't see the same reaction, right? We don't see the same reaction when it comes to any other faiths out there. And that's because these cowards are terrified to call it out, right? They're terrified. And not only that, you can always tell a snake, you can always tell a deceiver, right? By how they will reframe things and twist things to paint you in a light that is simply not true. They partake in the cancel culture that they themselves claim to hate because it suits the narrative. It suits them to cancel people when it suits and not others when it suits. That in on itself is hypocritical. And it's not very good, right? But like I've said before, I don't see this sort of stuff happening in any other fighting game community. And that's because possibly things were getting a little bit too close to home. And then after I've spoken to certain people, like my interview with Breezy the other day, I've spoken to James. Oh yeah, all of these people loud out there wanting people to go on lists and stuff like that. Turns out, they ain't so good. Right? So what else is he saying here? So no, this is this is a very good move on his behalf, right? Fiction says, Retro, why are you cheating on Zafina and Eliza? Who says they're not in the same bed? I mean, keep in mind, we're talking about fictional women here, but anyway. Now, I want to come back. I'll see if there's anything he was saying in the beginning as well. Just a little bit. I think he might have mentioned me once, I can't remember. But, you know, it's all good. See, this is the trap people fall into, right? They go, oh, if I feel like I'm the only source for this kind of thing, yeah, this is live, man. If this channel is the only source of things, then yes, I'll get people to watch me. But what people fail to realize is that it's you as a person, it's your personality, right? That's what attracts people to people, and that's what turns them off people, is who you are, right? And maybe being bald. You never know, right? So, that's what does it. You got all these channels out there, right? They have access to the same information, talking about the same stuff. The reason why people subscribe is because they want to know what you think. They want to know what you think about it, right? That's all. And it doesn't mean, like, because you'll have people out there that are they're just news readers, right? That's it. And then you've got people like me, which sort of like do both. I'll cover the news, but I also share my opinion on it, right? I think it'd be a very boring place if we all just copied each other, you know. At least he didn't buy views and subs. I'll give him that. But this is a perfect example of somebody that got essentially got addicted to social media fame, right? The views started rolling in, the likes start rolling in, and then, you know, you get addicted to it, right? So like I said, the only other thing I'm not 100% sure of is whether or not like people actually reached out to him. Maybe they did. Maybe they did. And that's great. If they did, that's fine. I don't need to see the DMs. We'll just give them the benefit of the doubt, right? So this is the other thing too. He says here, he goes, went after content creators and using names for clickbait and things of that nature. So, I don't know, do you guys remember much of his videos? Because this is the other thing too, people get accused of being clickbait, rage bait and stuff a lot. Do people not understand what these terms mean? Or people fucking stupid? Clickbait, right? If I said, as an example, right, Noobsidebot is the first character in the DLC Combat Pack 2, right? You get into the video, so I make it the thumbnail, the title is an absolute. You get into the video, you sit there for 6 minutes with nothing on the screen except for just some fucking gameplay. And then at the end they go, oh yeah, so I have a pretty good theory as to why Noobsidebot is in the game. That is clickbait. Right? That's clickbait. Then you got rage bait. Right? Which is people actively causing a ruckus when they themselves don't actually care. There's no conviction. Right? So, if you are passionate about something, and you put out a video, with a thumbnail, a title, you know, cracking off like I did about how the women look in MK, I'm not turning the video off and going, bunch of losers thinking I care, right? No, I actually give a shit, right? I actually do give a shit, right? But people out there, they gotta put you in a box. They gotta size you up. They gotta go, right, you're this, and you're this. And when you don't back down, then they get personal. When you don't back down, then they try and frame things. You don't back down, and so on and so on. Right? And the only way that you can fit in this community is by towing the line. Right? Now, why would you want to be part? Okay, first and foremost, why would you want perks from Warner Brothers? Right? Warner Brothers are heavily involved with Sweet Baby Inc., which pushes woke ideology. Now maybe if you're a leftist fucking weirdo, that's perfect for you. That's great. You can suck that dick all day. But for me personally, I do have some convictions and morals that I will not, absolutely under any circumstances, give up. And one of those is going against something that is so insidious and evil by its very nature. I just won't. So I don't give a shit about getting perks or anything like that from Warner Brothers, because look at the way they are. They have fucked up almost every conceivable game franchise that they have partaken in, because they decided to go down a path of wokeness, right? I still love it. I still love fucking seeing people out there going, oh my god, you know, it's not that bad, or oh my god, it doesn't exist. That's how you know they're lying. They are lying because they want to stick to a false narrative of pushing agendas against people and things that are simply not true, right? Because they want to keep the doors open. Okay? So, you know, and that's a problem. So, when people accuse you of being clickbait and rage bait, think about it and go, hang on a sec, am I? Look at your content and go, no, I talked about what the thumbnail and the title's about in the video. Accurately. Right? You don't have to be a wordsmith. You don't have to write a fucking script. You don't have to sit there and cover every angle so that way you don't look like a fucking idiot. Just have a conversation. Right? YouTube, literally, I know it might be hard for some people to understand, but the first word, you, is about you. It is about you bringing yourself to the table to talk about things that you're interested in, or things that you don't like, or whatever, right? This is what it is, right? So, and of course, you know, especially if you go down certain rabbit holes, yeah, absolutely. Things like Sweet Baby Inc. and any other sort of like agency out there that does this sort of, you know, suggestion type, you know, I don't know, meetings or whatever, if you will, in the direction that they should make their games and, you know, content and stuff like that. Oh, it's terrible. It's absolutely goes against, you know, everything natural. Right? Now, I've had my belief systems probably since almost the entire time of, well, I mean, I don't know if I've talked about it, but, you know, for a very long time, people have known that I've had major issues with the way that the women have looked in the game, how they've looked masculine and stuff like that. And yet nobody had a problem. Until somehow Fate's voice became a little bit too problematic. Right? It became a little bit too problematic, right? That's when you started to see a change, right? Now, I'm happy to admit when I'm wrong, but I'm not wrong about a lot of the stuff I talk about because I do my research. I look into things. And at the end of the day, it's just my opinion, right? Like I said, if you come out and you go, I think Noob Saibot might be in the next game, or sorry, expansion, that's an opinion, or a theory. or both. If you come out and declare it, that's a statement of fact. Now, some people out there like to take what you say and twist it to make it sound like, oh, that sounds like that absolutely, you're just saying that's true. And it's like, no, it's not. And that usually comes from people that don't like you. That's why you never listen to them. Like, because those people don't actually care about truth. They care about being hateful. They care about tearing other people down in favor of others because they themselves are weak and cannot fight their own battles. Right? Look how many people it went up against. Still here. No lies detected. This is what it is. Right? But in this case, with the Wave report, he'd been lying for a long time. Everyone knew he'd been lying for a long time. And now he's admitted it. Evidenced here. So what was he saying about that? Let me just tell you. NRS uses the names for clickbait and things of that nature. Yeah, well, again, like if you put like somebody's face on the thumbnail, some big content creator, and then you don't talk about that content creator, that's clickbait, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Right? And that's where it becomes a problem too. You know? I'll tell you what though, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you what, right? Because I've never spoken to him personally. I've never spoken to Toronto Dog personally, right? But props are due here, and I think I've said this before, that at least with his gigantic following that eclipses all of these other insecure soy boy pieces of shit out there, right, combined, at least he wasn't pushing false narratives about me, right? That says a lot about the quality of a person. He had a massive opportunity to do so, and he didn't, right? So that he gets props for, because he didn't come out and go, well, you know, this feet guy is pretty toxic, and I decided to look into him, and you know, seems like he's a white supreme pizza and Klansman and all this sort of stuff. No, nothing. Now, you don't have to agree the way that he does his videos, right? You don't have to agree with that at all. You can have your opinions on him, and that's fine. But regardless, right? That is a massive, as far as I'm concerned, that's a massive tell into somebody the way a person is, right? So, you know, gotta give props where they're due. But I encourage everyone to be your own person. Talk about what you want to talk about. Be honest. Like, don't say one thing and not actually, like, mean it, right? Like, my issues with MK are legitimate. My history proves it's legitimate, right? Don't talk about something you're not interested in, because people can see right through that, right? What's he gonna say? Yeah, I think the only right path here is the fact that he basically, yeah, he was clickbaiting and lying, right? But you know what's funny? You know what's hilarious? All the people that came after me, right? Where's their video on the Wave report? From years ago. Where's their videos on all the other people that were actually chilling. Hmm? Because they didn't care. That's what I'm saying, dude. This community is dog shit. They don't actually care about making it better because they let it rot for so long. And now these people want to come out and act like they're going to save everything? Give me a fucking break. I'm not trying to save shit. I'm just calling shit out and it will figure it out itself out on its own. If it doesn't, so what? You know, I tried, end of story. That's all that matters. But this is what you get. These people let these people get away and do these things and have all these issues. But nobody went through the shit that I did. As I said, I want you to name all the other people, right, that got racially profiled or told they were like part of like fans of WW2, like Supreme Pizza type, Klansman, whatever. Didn't happen. Never happened with anyone because they didn't give a shit. Right? They never gave a shit. So when these people start talking about building a community, from what? You know? So let's see what else he's saying. I'm like, to be fair, like I'm an MK fan. I'm not an NRS fan. I don't give a fuck. Right? NRS is just a cult. You know. After MK9, everything went to shit. And as Total MK has said himself, and he'd know, that the reason why MK9 was so great is because it was still being developed under the Midway team. Right? And then when the bankruptcy happened and the buyout happened, they simply just changed names, but it was still being developed as a, you know, what do you call it? Still being developed as a, you know, as a Midway title. That's why it feels. You put MK9 and MK10 side by side, it's almost like looking at two different studios, right? Anyway. Alice says they hate Faith because he has faith. Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, they're fucking, they're Christophobes. Can we say that? Isn't that the term for people hating on Christians? Christophobes? What is this? Okay, so he's talking about being upstanding citizen in the community. What does that entail? Okay, don't lie. That's it. Done. That's it. That's all you gotta do. Right? So that sort of stuff I have a problem with. That is basically saying toe the fucking line. Right? Think about, like I said before, think about think about what they're asking of you. They want you to toe the line to a bunch of godless, demonic type bullshit that we have from Warner Brothers, Sweet Baby Inc., right? This is what they want you to toe the line for. So you get little handouts, right? I mean, it is absolutely ridiculous, right? Absolutely ridiculous. Because it is all about trying to, you know, make sure people are, you know, behaving themselves. Right? It's terrible. The entire, well, not entire, let's not be hyperbolic, but a large majority of the NRS community are leftists. Look at their behavior. They partake in the very cancel culture that they claim to be against. Right? So that's why I have a problem with that, because that sounds very much like, oh, well, you know, if you ever expect to work with NRS or work with the NRS, okay, why would you want to work with other content creators if they are shit? Right? If they're shit, why would you want to? Right? It's a legitimate question. Why would I want to work with NRS? Right? I'm just a customer. Okay? I'm not trying to get to an event so I can have my dick sucked, you know, and getting a fucking, you know, autograph of people that clearly don't respect me as a customer. Why the fuck would I want that? Why would I want that? You don't, like, why would you go out of your way to do that? Part of being a content creator is being yourself. And if being yourself is calling out shit you don't like, then so be it. And if people have to go outside of that to smear you and slander you and make up bullshit, then that says everything about them. Right? That says everything about them. Because they couldn't beat you on the merits of the argument. Right? That's why it's like not worth like debating these people anymore or talking to these people. Because there is no good faith argument to be had. Their goal is to destroy. They are very much in line with what Warner Brothers is doing to all their IPs. Right? Their goal is to destroy, and their goal is to monetize and take advantage of drama, essentially. Right? Yeah, so, like, again, like, I've got nothing against the Wave Report. I actually think this is pretty cool. Right? You know, he's good, like, yeah, he's good to listen to, right? It's just the false news, right? I didn't care with some Lone Wolf stuff. I was enjoying the attention I was getting. Okay, this, again, like I was saying, there's nothing wrong with being a Lone Wolf. You don't have to align yourself with anyone, okay? Just be honest. Just be honest about what you're talking about, right? If you don't like something that somebody says, that doesn't mean to say that it's a lie. Right? If you say you don't like the gameplay in Mortal Kombat 1, that's not a lie. That's an opinion. But the people out there take that opinion and they go, well, he's got a public voice, therefore we have to make him accountable as if he's speaking facts, which is the dumbest fucking thing ever. It's an opinion. It'd be no different to saying this privately, right? Like if you're in a group of friends, you know, and you go, I don't like the gameplay, and you go, and they go, why? And you go, oh, I don't know, man. I fucking hate, you know, being stuck in a combo for half a year and shit like that, right? And then they go, yeah, but have you spent 6 hours in the dojo, bro? Have you got on your stream and played with all your viewers? Have you done everything possible? And only until you do can you sit there and say that you didn't like it. That's the dumbest shit I've ever fucking heard. Right? That's the dumbest shit. Because I get called a liar and I go, what did I lie about? Still waiting on that answer. Isn't that funny how they call you stuff and they don't have any actual stuff to back it up? And that, by and large, is probably because a lot of these people are narcissists, right? That's why they get very defensive when you call them out on shit, or you don't kowtow to their worldview, right? I truck along. I do my thing. Who got upset? They got upset. They come in swinging. I swing back. How dare you attack us? It is what it is. Right. So, yeah, well, let's have a look at some of the comments anyway. Let's just check. Now, let me just check his channel for a sec, because he hasn't done a video in about 3 weeks. Hasn't streamed in 2 months. He's got shorts and stuff. I don't know when he did that, but his fucking thumbnails are pretty good, man. His thumbnails are pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, man. They're pretty good. Right. So I almost look like a floating head, don't I? A little bit. Come here, baby. Come here, dog. Get. Alright, so let's read some comments, right? This person says apparently there's no articles about him. I don't know what you're talking about. Everybody knew, including the leak community, that you're making everything up and lying, so it was no big surprise. Again, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you've got leaks, just put it in the video. Just show the text. This is where I found it, right? And that's why you're not the top content creator of the MK community, almost becoming irrelevant. Well, who cares about being the top? Right? Who cares about being the top? Also it says here, but your really arrogant, aggressive behavior towards everyone who called you out on it, especially other YouTubers, is inexcusable. Yeah, I can't remember what he's doing. Does anyone remember? There's still evidence of your behavior out there. Yeah, but, yeah, but this is him, like, you know, like this, like this person's acting like he's coming out and saying he didn't do this stuff. He actually just admitted in the video he did. Right? He's admitted to lying, he's admitted to the source stuff and everything like that. Right? Bios or not, some of those ideas for the game you came up with would have made the game better. Yeah, and listen, talking about gaming ideas or sharing your thoughts on stuff is entirely valid. That's perfectly okay. Nothing wrong with that. Right? 80% of us knew you were capping, but it was still fun to watch. I'm still watching videos. Okay, that's fine. People do whatever they want. Losers defending a loser. Well, no, he's admitted he's a mistake. See, I do love this. It must be a young generation thing that fucking, it's just like, they're like, you do one thing wrong, and that's it. You are absolutely condemned. Right? And yet, eventually, they'll do something that they'll be held to account for. And they'll wish that they had people saying, you know, well, hey, no, give them a chance. Right? This guy says, I'm still rocking with the Wave Report no matter what. Your content was entertaining and accurate. No one came close to what you're doing. It's hard to believe you made stuff up, but at the end of the day, you told the truth and I respect you more. Yeah, I mean, look, most people could see he was fucking lying. Right. He says, damn, my guy, you gave me a slow piece of hope. Myers is coming. I mean, I knew it was all clickbait, but for some reason I still hindered. I get what you did. I get why you did it. Yeah, and this is the thing. So, vanity and this addiction to social media, right? That's what did it. And eventually, he had to come clean about it. Right? And you got to give him props for that. This guy says, just an iron brother. I know Jay. I know Jay, man. Jeez. Wow. J-Man's a shit stirrer. I love you, bro, though. But yeah, he's a shit stirrer. Because I'm a shit stirrer, too. You know. Riz says, I gave you a like because it takes courage to admit when you're wrong. I haven't watched many of your videos, to be honest. I'm glad, however, I am going to subscribe to your channel and support the change of heart and mission of the truth. Yeah. Right. And that's, you know, and that's a big thing. Hollywood says he's still going to say subscribe. Yeah, he hasn't lost a whole bunch, right? So people are willing to give this man a chance. They obviously like how he communicates. They have come because of who he is. And he fucked up. Right? Where was it? Oh, I should have missed it. How did I go down too far? Trav Von Doom says, and you try to call out other folks. No pity, my guy. I've been saying this since the jump. Right. Now, I can't remember what he was calling out. Was he calling out other creators saying that they were lying? Is that what they were saying? But again, he's admitting to it all. So, you know. Do your thing. We have to say, though, your titles became alluring and the look was there. So even though I don't like the misinformation, you do have something there. Yeah, he's like his thumbnails. Like his thumbnails are pretty good. Right. Doubtless will do anything to your channel negatively. You manned up and came out to speak about it. You do you. But please don't resort to being a greedy rat. And that's the other thing too, is greed. Right? There's a story in the Bible about Job, right? And Job was he was a devout believer in the Creator, right? Anyway, so Satan comes up to him one day. Sorry, not to him. Satan comes up to God one day and goes, the only reason why Job likes you is because you have everything. You gave him everything. Hey, J-Man, what's happening, bro? So Satan says to God, Job only likes you and worships you because you gave him everything. And God goes, okay, take everything away from him. Right? Now you think that sounds pretty terrible, right? People go, why would God allow these horrific things to happen to one of his own? But what you don't understand, right, is that God was now called out in front of all of heaven, in front of all the angels. God went into bat for Job. And he stood there in front of all of heaven with Lucifer's accusations against one of his followers. And he said, this man will not buckle in his faith even when he loses everything. Right? That's how much God loves you. That's how much he loves you. Right? His own wife tried to get him to renounce God. His own friends tried to get him to renounce God. And the whole time, Job was afflicted with, what was it, boils, sores, whatever, all over his body. His children were killed by Satan, right? All of this happened. He lost his livestock, money, everything. Because if God was wrong, about Job in front of all of heaven, then all of heaven would be like, well, hang on, what else are you wrong about? What else could you be not accurate about? You have to remember, God's word is law. God's word is the truth. When he says something, it is the truth. He is no deceiver. And he stood in the realm of heaven with all the angels, and the accusation from Lucifer stood for you. Stood for Job. Right? The creator of all things stood there and said, this man will not buckle in his faith. I am standing up for this man when no one else will. Like I said, his wife turned against him for a bit. His friends turned against him, tried to get him to renounce God. And when he didn't buckle, and he proved Lucifer wrong, which then shamed Lucifer even further to say, look, this angel, this guy is continuing to lie and deceive and reframe and manipulate and just be an absolute horrific flappy flap, right? Now you see that I am not wrong. Now you see, right? And that's what God did. And so then Job, because of his dedication to his faith, he got double everything. He had more children. He got double the livestock and money and all that. It just went awesome, right? Amazing stuff, right? Amazing stuff. But a lot of people out there, they like to use God as the bad guy, you know, to reframe stuff, to turn you away. They try and turn you, like his friends and his wife tried to turn him away from God the same way that they try to do it as well. Right? It's why, like I was reading the other night, I know it's a little bit biblical, so I was reading the other night, right, about why didn't Jesus come and fix the issue with Adam and Eve, right? So the reason why humanity is cursed is because Adam and Eve ate from the apple. They now understood what good and evil was, which means that they were capable now of committing evil or bad things, right? By doing so, handed over authority to Satan, right? Basically, think of it like handing the keys of your house over to somebody else, and now you have to play by his rules. So humanity now has become infected. Humanity now understands what it's like to live under the rule of Satan, which is exactly what happens to us every single day. People blame God. No, you blame the devil. You're blaming the wrong person, right? So what happens is that there was a question I read the other day, and it's like, well, why didn't Jesus come and save humanity in that instant? And that's because humanity had to learn what it was like to live without God. That actually strengthens your faith and deepens it. Which is why the devil works so hard to turn you against God, right? So because of that, that was also then becoming a teaching and learning moment for humanity. That now you know what it's like. The pain, the suffering, the torment, the trauma, the anger, the hatred, everything. All of that is what you get when you worship the devil. But when you worship me, not me, but God, Jesus, right? This is what you get. Completely opposite ends. And so there was a lesson there. But again, you know, this is why I encourage everyone that is interested in, interested in Christianity or whatever, or are Christian and have doubts. Investigate, ask questions. God wants you to ask questions. God wants you to challenge. So that way you will come to a position of understanding and learning, and that in itself will deepen your faith. One sec. Alright, I'm back. Alright, I gotta go. I gotta go pick my daughter up, right? So. How you going, Dynasty? What's happening, man? Yeah, I gotta go. I gotta go pick my daughter up. Dynasty says, you guys act like I had a problem with the guy. I didn't say anything about that. I didn't say you had a problem with him. I don't know who the Wave Report talked about. I don't know who he talked about. So, huh? Oh, was he saying that about you? Dynasty says he's started doing shit like calling me a racist and taming me personally. Oh, is that what? Oh, okay, alright. Dynasty, we gotta have a chat, man. Hit me up, bro. It's been too long. Alright, guys, I gotta go. I'm sorry to cut it short. God bless to everyone, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. Catch ya.